What was your first response when you read it?
I couldn't believe how such extraordinary things could be happening, and yet I believed every moment of it on the page.
When movies are so entirely advertised on their idea or their premise, a lot of times I can't help but think it's a bit of a gimmick. When the idea itself sounds so fantastic, you just know that there's no way it can actually be that good and live up to it. Take the trailer for Cocaine Bear.
The bear, it fucking did cocaine.
No, but actually, it does look amazing. But the whole high-concept horror thriller is both a blessing and a curse. On the one hand, you've got a fantastic idea that audiences will be curious of, an idea that could make a fantastic movie. But on the other, you've got a fantastic idea that audiences will be curious of, an idea that could make a fantastic movie. A lot of times it doesn't.
Yeah, well, you know, that's just like your opinion, man.
I'll send for help first thing.
A lot of times movies fail to live up to the promise of their own premise. And when that happens, I get very sad. It goes like this. These kinds of movies, they start out super strong out the gate. In the first 30 or so minutes, it's amazing as the premise is being built, and it's exciting. But once it is built, we often get stuck in the mud, wondering where it all went wrong. I just saw The Menu, directed by Mylod, and it's my pleasure to announce to you all that The Menu does not fall victim to this plague. I actually hit traffic on my way to this movie, which made me miss a few minutes of the opening scene, which even more now than then makes me angry. Even if a high-concept movie is decent, maybe even considered good by normal standards, it can still end up being a disappointment because when audiences hear a cool idea, they set an expectation. Because the idea has potential, and people recognize potential. You know, when you hear such a cool idea for a movie and it actually pops up in your head of what it might look like, it's just not always easy to execute that full potential. Or the potential was only in the intrigue and offers not much else beyond that. Horror movies are the biggest victims of this because horror movies are literally banked on strong ideas. It's what the genre relies on. It's always something that works great as an elevator pitch. Yeah, so my movie is about these people who pay for this super expensive dining experience on a remote island, but turns out the chef is a psychopath and plans a series of intricate courses that are designed to kill everyone on the island. Instead of the character or the movie star that attracts the ticket sales, it's the premise. That's why horror movies are also so profitable, because they're so cheap to make, yet can do great box office numbers. Studios like that. Sometimes you get a real hit with this. When it works, it makes for some of the best movies ever. I saw a movie the other night, Violent Night. An elite team of mercenaries breaks into a family compound on Christmas Eve, taking everyone hostage inside. However, they aren't prepared for a surprise combatant. Santa Claus is on the grounds, and he's about to show why this Nick is no saint. Which, based on that, should have been the greatest movie ever made, but unfortunately, it didn't quite live up to the potential of that idea. Fresh, Pearl, X, The Black Phone, Nope are a few examples from this year that I would say do it pretty well. But none of them did it as well as The Menu did. Here's why I think this to be the case. I got two things. Call it the 10-act structure, if you will. Ever watch a movie and after a quarter of the way down your popcorn tub, you figure out exactly where it's going to go? And then, beat by beat for the next hour and a half, everything unravels pretty much exactly the way you thought?
What the fuck does it matter?
When that happens, it's not usually that fun. That might be the most underwhelming experience you could think of, unless it's Top Gun Maverick, and that's exactly what you want to see. But for most movies, especially movies literally designed to be suspenseful, it's usually not a fun time. Because if nothing is keeping you on the edge of your seat, then nothing is exciting. Like so. The Menu accomplishes the difficult feat of having you have no idea what will happen next. It doesn't leave you lost in confusion or without a sense of direction. That would be a mistake, but it leaves you begging to know the next beat. Plus, and this is the best part, that it makes you guess. The Menu pretty much masters tension. Tension through letting a scene linger in the edit, tension through the acting and the dialogue, and also tension through its structure. There's a really great structure thing they did with this movie where they basically use chapters like a lot of movies or books do, but they don't label them as chapters, they label them as courses, as the guests go through the different dining courses of the night. It's actually a brilliant idea and one of those examples where the movie completely takes full advantage of the potential of its concept. In doing this, the movie generates a really awesome momentum because we always want to know what the next course is. And in each of the previous courses, there was a catch. So now we're anticipating the catch.
The game is trying to guess what the overarching theme of the entire meal is going to be. You won't know till the end.
That line is actually in the movie, and it's one of the examples of small lines that generate the movie's tension. Because now that he said that, we too are trying to play the game with them. It's like foreshadowing, but less specific. It's gold. It's something good movies always do, whether it's through dialogue or action, inserting small moments that make the audience have something to look forward to. Again, I got to this movie late. I don't really know how late or how much of it I missed, but in being late, I had to catch up. This might have influenced the way I saw the movie, but even after I had caught up, the movie was always keeping you engaged. There are a few twists in the movie that rock. They're actually so good. And the thing about twists is that when people say a twist is good or shocking, it's usually the fact that it came out of nowhere. But a twist coming out of nowhere is the limited time only kind of twist. It's only cool for that brief moment of shock. The twists in this movie are of a high species of twist. They are always either 1, moving the story forward, 2, recontextualizing earlier scenes, also known as making you go, oh, 3, revealing character, or 4, simply being awesome. They're usually all 4, which leads me to the second reason why I think this movie lives up to its concept unlike some other movies. Because of the ending. The ending fits all 4 of my criteria, and because of the fact that, of course, my criteria is objectively correct, the ending is therefore good. It made me want to eat a cheeseburger more than any cheeseburger ad has ever made me want to eat a cheeseburger. I've seen the critique a lot that this movie feels very pretentious or that it was too on the nose in the things it was trying to say, that it took people out of the experience. The ideas of class and the satire on the food industry, I disagree. And I'm kind of surprised people even think this. Because while those things are definitely there in the film, because it's a movie featuring rich, pretentious people eating food, it's also very much self-aware to the contents of its own movie. Because it's rich, pretentious people eating food, the very intention of the movie is to not be pretentious, or else it would be hypocritical. The intention of the movie is for you to just enjoy its thrills, in which it has a lot of, including the ending. It is my core belief that movies with god-tier concepts like this usually fail because of this major reason. They forget to find their ending. Even for any movie at all, if you leave feeling unsatisfied, it's usually because the ending was unsatisfying. Wow. A great movie ending can also save a movie. It is another core belief of mine that a great movie with a mediocre ending is far worse than a mediocre movie with a fantastic ending. Usually when a movie with a high concept falls flat, it's because of the ending. The ending. And high concept movies are even more vulnerable because you're expecting a good ending to match that high concept. Basically, what I'm saying is this. It's just math, guys. For your high concept movie to live up to its concept, all you have to do is follow this simple formula from which I have derived. X must be equal to Y. Let X represent the concept. Let Y represent the ending. X must be equal to Y. Hold on 1 second. Einstein is actually calling me. For the menu, the ending is just as high concept as the concept itself. But what the hell do I know?
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.